If you manage people or you have a manager yourself, maybe both, if you have a job today, you fit in one of those categories, I want to talk to you about how to improve your relationship, how to get on the same page, how to be more effective. And if you don't have time to listen to this whole podcast, I'll give you the secret up front right now. The number one way to improve your relationship between manager and employee is to never assume. Always ask them what success looks like for them and then what they think success looks like for you. And if you have a few minutes, I'll explain how that works in real life. This is The Next Simple Step. I'm Paul Goldsmith. If you don't know what you want, how can I help you get it? Actual conversation with my daughter, who is a picky eater, and she just doesn't like to eat anything. So I tried to help her make her lunch the other day, and it was impossible because she didn't want anything. It's the same thing at work. When you don't know what your manager wants, it's hard to make them happy. Too many managers make this mistake. You hire somebody and you just assume the employee knows exactly what success looks like. Show up on time, work hard, do your best. But what do those things even mean? Is showing up on time actually the start of work, or is it half an hour early, 5 minutes before you're supposed to start? What does doing your best look like? What if your best isn't good enough? You know, there was a TV show in the 90s. It was a knockoff of Saturday Night Live called Mad TV. And there was an ongoing sketch that I'll never forget. It was a parody of an online dating service that went something like this.
Lowered expectations.
Are you desirably impaired? Do you find yourself serving pungent parties? Would you describe yourself as shy, old-fashioned, not on anyone's A-list? Is your ideal date someone in their early 20s with a perfect body and a sparkling personality? Well, unless you win the lottery, you're never going to land that dreamboat. But that doesn't mean you can't find somebody. And that's why Lowered Expectations may be for you. Our video library is packed with thousands of chronically rejected singles, just like you.
It's funny because there's an element of truth in it. We all have the greatest of expectations of others, but if we don't have high expectations for ourselves, there's a disconnect. We should have the same level of expectations for ourselves as we have for everyone else. And instead of the skit, like lowering our expectations, what if we raise them for everyone, ourselves included? Because it's just better that way. Everybody comes out ahead. And so let me talk to the managers first, and then employees, I'll get to you. Managers, you set the expectations. Your employees want the same things you want. The 3 R's. To be recognized, respected, and rewarded. We all want that. Recognized for showing up and doing your job. Respected as a person, not talked down to, lied to, yelled at, ignored. Treated with decency and agency, like a creative person that you are. And rewarded when you do something well, when you go above and beyond. It gets noticed, not just your mistakes, but also when you stick your neck out there and try something that's not in your job description, but it makes the business better. There's an incredible book by Seth Godin called Linchpin, where he encourages people to stop being mindless drones at work, just doing their job, and instead become linchpins, as he defines someone who pours their energy into their work and is indispensable to their company. And in that book, I just want to read a portion of it to you. He writes, a secret memo for employers. You want your employees to be indispensable? Really? After all, if they're linchpins, you have to treat them better, pay them fairly. You won't be able to quickly fire them for any reason, knowing how easy they will be to replace with all those folks lining up at the door. The linchpin represents a threat to the orderly execution of your agenda because the linchpin is necessary. The linchpin has power. No one is irreplaceable, of course, because over time, someone can be trained to fill the shoes of your linchpin employee. But right now, knowing you have to depend on someone is a scary feeling. Not only does he have power, but he might leave you hanging. This isn't what you were taught in school. Here's the win. Actually, there are two. First, understand that your competition has been building a faceless machine exactly like yours. And when customers have the choice between faceless options, they pick the cheapest, fastest, more direct option. If you want customers to flock to you, it's tempting to race to the bottom of the price chart. There's not a lot of room for profit there, though. You can't out Amazon, can you? In a world that relentlessly races to the bottom, you lose if you also race to the bottom. The only way to win is to race to the top. When your organization becomes more human, more remarkable, faster on its feet, and more likely to connect directly with customers, it becomes indispensable. The very thing that made your employee a linchpin makes you a linchpin. An organization of indispensable people doing important work is remarkable, profitable, and indispensable in and of itself. And second, the people who work for you, the ones you freed to be artists, will rise to a level you can't even imagine. When people realize that they are not a cog in a machine, an easily replaceable commodity, they take the challenge and grow. They produce more than you pay them to because you are paying them with something worth more than money. They do more than they're paid to on their own because they value quality for its own sake and they want to do good work. They need to do good work. Anything less feels intellectually dishonest and like a waste of time. In exchange, you're giving them freedom, responsibility, and respect, which are priceless. As a result of these priceless gifts, expect that the linchpins on your staff won't abuse their power. In fact, they'll work harder, stay stronger, and produce more than you pay them to because everyone is a person and people crave connection and respect. That's from Seth Godin's book, Linchpin, encouraging managers, employers to empower people to have agency, to be creative. Of course, there are boundaries. I know in all my businesses, it can't be outsourced to AI. The relationships with our clients and our customers, we have to empower our team members to bring their unique giftings to work and put them in roles where they can really thrive. And that's why I'm a big believer in doing personality profiles on people to make sure that you're optimizing people for the roles and it's not a mismatch. In fact, the tool that I use is called Print. It stands for Motivational Imprint. If you want to learn more about that, feel free to reach out because that's been invaluable at learning about what makes our individual team members tick. And then also the flip side, what triggers them. And that way we can better communicate with one another and optimize roles for the individuals that we have on our team. We spend a lot of time talking to managers. I want to also talk to you if you have a manager and maybe your relationship is frayed with that manager. Maybe they know something you don't. Have you stopped to consider that you doing your best isn't necessarily what they're looking for? So have you asked them what success looks like? Put another way, have you asked them what it takes to get promoted, to earn more and be more valuable? And that'll tell you exactly what they value. It's also important to know the current expectations of your manager so that if you are unable or unwilling to meet those expectations, then perhaps you're in the wrong job. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or with your manager. It's just you have to have the courage of facing the reality of the situation and not trying to will the job to what you want it to be. Back to Seth Godin's Linchpin, he also wrote a secret memo to employees, and he writes, "Given the chance, you should choose to be indispensable. After all, if you're the linchpin, the company has to treat you better, pay you fairly. You won't be the first to be shown the door in a slow period. In fact, you'll be the last. Not only do you have security, but you also have confidence. The confidence to make a difference in your organization and to do work that matters. If you can be human at work, not a machine, you'll discover a passion for work you didn't know you had. When work becomes personal, your customers and coworkers are more connected and happier, and that creates even more value. When you're not a cog in a machine an easily replaceable commodity, you'll get paid what you're worth, which is more. As a manager, as a hirer of people, and I've had to let people go as well, I can tell you what Seth Godin wrote is absolutely true. In a downturn, when hard decisions have to be made, if you are indispensable, if it is clear the value you bring to the company is greater than the value you extract, the company is going to hold on to you for as long as it can, and you have leverage. The leverage is the value you bring. So the advice is, don't wait for a downturn. Ask right now what expectations are and never assume that you know. That's true in life, in marriage, and it's certainly true at work. And if you'd like to learn more about the print survey for yourself or your team, you can reach out. I'll be happy to tell you more about how I offer that as a coach. Just head on over to nextsimplestep.com or send me a message on Instagram or X. I'm Paul J. Goldsmith on both. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time on the Next Simple Step Podcast.